With all the new technology out there at our hands, it's a lot easier to keep tabs on our kids.
Some parents rely on social media. Others, though, have started using tracking apps to know where their kids are.
So how far is too far? Denver 7's Russell Haythorne is going 360 on whether spying on your kids is the right way to go.
They're teenagers, okay? They use drugs and they watch people playing video games on YouTube.
No one ever said parenting was easy.
2 kids, 2 boys, very different boys.
Wildly different.
Made even harder for moms like Blythe Kingsbury and Bijal Choksi by technology.
It can't be so much of the phone.
Social media is horrifying. The vaping, the sexualizing everything.
A parent trap of sorts as moms and dads try to strike a balance between giving kids freedom and hovering too much, which gave rise to the term helicopter parents.
The idea of us hovering over our kids and getting ready to swoop in anytime something bad happens and just rescue them from everything.
There are now dozens of apps for tracking and keeping tabs on your kids like Bark, Life 360, NetNanny, Spizy, and Custodio. But is that always the right move? We're taking spying on your kids 360 by asking how far is too far with a pediatrician, a school resource officer, and parents, starting with Bijal,
And his phone.
who recently began locking up her 11-year-old's phone at night.
I know that probably sounds extreme.
But it is what works for them.
This is the safe.
Bijal says she and her husband would catch their 11-year-old on the phone late at night, so they took action.
For his safety and health, making sure he gets enough sleep.
They also track their older son and monitor his activities on the phone. They use the iPhone tracking system. Other apps like Bark show your child's location, all the calls they make, their text messages, and even the photos and videos they capture.
My approach has been to lay out some structure, almost like scaffolding.
And she even occasionally looks through their bedrooms.
I do go through their rooms, and this was advice given to me by my mom.
Law enforcement officers say it's a no-brainer.
I say be nosy.
School resource officer Kelly Lechuga says searching your child's bedroom is not an invasion of privacy.
In all reality, it's still their house and they still have access to that and they still can go search and they should be searching. They should be aware.
The Arvada PD recently rolled out its mobile bedroom, a replica of a teen's room, to teach parents about the hiding places for things like vape pens, drugs, and alcohol.
You have every right to access any piece of their bedroom.
Both the typical hiding spots like drawers.
We also have a lighter here.
And the not so typical.
Maybe your kid does play tennis, but if you actually start to search a little bit more, they get pretty creative and can hide things. You just got a marijuana pipe, things as simple as a frame, right? We don't think to look behind these.
Lechuga says if you trust your child, you may not need to search, but keep an eye out for signs. Tired all the time, grades slipping, pushing away good friends for new ones.
Asking questions is going to be the best way that you're going to get those answers.
And that brings us to the clinical side.
There are studies that suggest that kids with helicopter parents do have more social anxiety and more anxiety and depression in general.
Dr. Deborah Berry at Lone Tree Pediatrics says it all goes back to the early years. She says parents can be too involved.
When my kid was in kindergarten and they were all talking about how, they all got this teacher and that they'd all gotten together and made sure their kid got this teacher. And I felt, oh, was I supposed to do that? I think you ideally want to let your kid get whatever teacher gets assigned and learn how to deal with that personality. We're not letting them fail in second grade when their friend is mad at them and they have to work that out. They're supposed to learn from that and realize that it's okay.
Berry says letting kids fail teaches them how to cope, make better decisions, and ultimately helps them grow into sensible teens and adults.
It's having them be happy kids, but also learn to be productive adults.
Coming full circle, that brings us back to parents like mother of 3, Blythe Kingsbury.
I have a freshman in high school, a 6th grader, and a 3rd grader. I just go into our messages.
Blythe tracks her oldest son.
There he is.
Something that started when his behavior changed.
He started hanging out with a crew of kids that were dabbling in vaping and smoking cannabis. I gave him warnings, and It got to a point where we said, this is for your safety and our sanity.
They monitor which apps and programs he's using and for how long.
This is our charging station.
And everyone in the house must dock their devices by 8 o'clock at night, no exceptions.
You don't get to talk on it after that. There's no reason. And that's Roman.
A delicate balancing act for parents trying to navigate our changing world.
We tend to parent pretty middle of the road, but it's very important for us to know what's going on.
I don't want to be suspicious, and so don't give me a reason.
For Denver 7,
My choices as a parent are to teach him how to cope with people that are making poor choices so he doesn't feel the same need to do that.
I'm Russell Haythorne.